Hey, this is Nate with Renegade Nate Fitness Coaching and Consulting Underground Fitness Revolution. Today I'm going to show you the goblet squat and how to get into that correct form with the goblet squat. A lot of people tend to struggle with this because they don't have the hip mobility or the ankle mobility in order to get deep enough into their goblet squat, and I'll show you a way to do that even without weight. So the goblet squat, one of the things you want to make sure you do right away is pick up the weight properly. So stand over the weight, bend down, drive with your legs, pick it up in the air. Now, if you're proficient with the swing, you could do it that way. I could swing it, throw it and catch it, hold it by the horns. Now from here, I'm going to squat down until my elbows pry my thighs. So my elbows are right inside the knee area, right here. My chest is up, my butt is back, my back is flat. I'm nice and tall, so you have to sit tall while getting nice and deep. From here, you want to grunt as you come up and squeeze the butt at the top, like this. So by grunting, you're pressurizing your abs, you're contracting them. It's also going to be safer on your back, so you're not falling out of your position, you're not rounding, you're not using bad form. So you want to grunt as you come up, pressurize those abs, keep your body nice and strong and straight and tight. Come up, and at the top, squeeze your glutes, which will keep your hips nice and extended. You want to be able to come up nice and tall. Let me show it to you from the side. Pick up the kettlebell correctly. Squat down. Elbows are inside my thighs. Still notice that my back is flat and it's tall. I'm tall, trying to get tall. So what I don't want to do is this. I'm not rounding. I'm not pitched forward. We don't want to be in these positions. We want to be nice and tall. And then from here, you grunt, and squeeze the butt at the top. Come back down, pry those thighs, and notice that my breathing is similar to the biomechanical match when you're doing a swing. So I breathe in on the way down, and I breathe out on the way up. Same as with the swing, you breathe in and you breathe out. That's the proper breathing for a goblet squat and for, of course, the swing. Again, get tall in that bottom position. So you want to get down, have those elbows and those thighs, chest is nice and upright, back is flat, and you're tall. Don't round forward. We don't want to be here. You don't want to go here for injuries purposes, avoid injury, and it's terrible form. So keep that back flat and come back up with it. So what do you do if you can't even do this with a kettlebell, or maybe even a dumbbell? So, for example, you don't have a kettlebell. Well, you can still do a goblet squat with a dumbbell. You hold it like a goblet. Squat down, chest is up, butt is back, back is flat, grunt, So that's how you do the goblet squat even with the dumbbell. If you don't have a kettlebell, it's a great exercise. It was Dan John that originally came up with this particular exercise to teach people how to squat. There's a lot of other regressions you can use. If you have a doorknob, that's one way. So you hold the doorknob and you work on getting your way into the squat. So that's one way to work into prying those thighs and getting lower and able to get the form right. If you have a pair of TRX straps, you can hold the TRX straps and then use those to help you get low, and they give you the extra support you need to be able to pull yourself back up. So there are different ways to get better at prying open your thighs, opening up those hips, and getting in the position of the goblet squat without yet moving to a dumbbell or a kettlebell. The other thing you can do is just work on getting down low, body weight, and let's say this is as low as you can go. So what do? You work on using your elbows, open up those thighs, try to get yourself down there so you can eventually lower yourself so that you're in a comfortable position with your chest up, butt back, back flat, and come up tall. So it's essentially a body weight squat at that point because you're able to go all the way down, pry those thighs, and come back up. So even from the side, all the way down, pry those thighs, and come back hip and knee bend. So you notice that when I squat, my hips come back first. So a lot of people make the mistake of trying to bend at their knees. Well, what happens when you bend at your knees first? You push forward, and you don't usually get in the right position, or you try to stay too far upright, and you can't do it. It puts a lot of pressure on the knees. So when you're squatting, you have to think that you're actually sitting back first, because you're using your hips to sit back, and then come back down. So it's maximal hip and knee bend when you're performing your squat. So don't try to bend at the knees, which is the first mistake that I see people do when they squat. Whether it's an overhead squat, they try to bend at the knees, or just trying to do a body weight squat and have the valgus collapse and the knees come in. So make sure you're not doing that. Don't squat at the knees. It's maximal hip and knee bend, but everything starts at the hips. So again, let's go back to the goblet squat. Pick this up. Get my foot position. I'm going to squat down. My chest is tall. My butt is back. I'm tall, 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 tall. Hup! Squeeze the butt at the top. Down. Tall, tall, tall. Hup! Down. Hup! Down. The other thing you can do is, if you've seen me perform the squat to stand, fantastic exercise. Help open up everything from head to toe. So feet are a little wide on shoulder width. First thing I do is grab my toes. So I'm in a hamstring stretch right now, but then I pull myself down until I can get into this position. Pry open those thighs in this position, and then of course I add an extension. If you're able to get this low, you can add an extension, but if you can't get this low, you do not add that. You work on getting here. So maybe you're here, and you're just working on prying those thighs, and then eventually you're able to get to this position. Come back up, stretch those hamstrings, go to the side, stretch the groin, and then you would repeat. Now, because there's so much hip mobility required for the goblet squat, and the goblet squat does help improve your hip mobility, you may want to do some hip flexor stretches prior to doing them or after doing them. That way you help continue to open up your hip flexors so you can get deeper, because everybody's hip flexors get tight because we sit too much every day. We're talking 8 hours of work, plus driving, plus eating, plus TV or computer or video games or whatever. So people sit for far too long, which causes you to have these tightened hips, just pulling you forward, making you tired, and eventually you start looking like an old man or an old woman. So the goblet squat is great for helping open up those hips, along with some of the other exercises I showed, whether it's the squat to stand, or using the doorknob drill, or TRX, or just working on some hip flexor stretching and things to help open you up. So this is your goblet squat. It's a fantastic exercise. The only thing that really limits you as far as how much weight you can use is going to be how strong your upper back traps are, because you have to actually hold that weight in front of you. So at one point, it does get to the point where your weight is just too much for the upper body to hold. So in that case, you can switch to double kettlebell front squats, which I've got videos for that as well. Or you can go and move to a barbell back squat, front squat as well. So, but for this purpose, most people, this is the only thing they need for a squat is a goblet squat. And I'm a true believer in that, because I've been using them for such a long time. I stopped doing back squats and front squats with a barbell, and even overhead squats with a barbell several years ago. Just put too much stress on the body, on my joints, on my back. And I found that I was able to make my legs grow and get stronger using goblet squats and double kettlebell front squats. So for most people who just want to feel good, lose some fat, get in good shape, and have a pretty good quality level of strength, goblet squat or double kettlebell front squat will do that for you. You don't have to use a barbell unless your goal is to compete in Olympic lifting or powerlifting, or into a sport that would require you to have very high levels of maximal strength. But for the majority of people and the clients that I deal with, goblet squat, double kettlebell front squat is all you need. So those are a few tips and techniques, and I'll show you how to do that goblet squat. If you have any questions, let me know. Crack it.